to get $1,992 and some change. We are in receipt of our bond bank proceeds. The 100R has been completed on Gateway, and we are on track to file the 1095Cs for 2019.
Just one question, Clerk Treasurer Rivas. On this uniform conflict of interest disclosure statement, is that something that we only sign if it affects us, or does every council person need to sign that?
If it affects you.
Okay.
If you are doing business in the city and there might be a conflict.
Okay.
My suggestion, Scott, is that if you are in doubt, do one.
Yeah.
If you have to stop and ask yourself, does this affect me, do one. Better safe than sorry, but if you have nothing that would even give rise to that question, then it does not require it.
All right, good point. I would just ask the council members to review that, to see, as our attorney suggested, if there's any doubt, then I would definitely sign it. And then, do you collect those, Clerk Treasurer Rivas?
Yes.
Okay. And then also review the nepotism clause that are in there. I think those are two important documents. Thank you.
Clerk Treasurer, I have a question on the unclaimed property. The second item, Wendy's International. I thought that they either were buying property from us or we were buying from them, and I would like to ask our attorney to check that $1,050 out, or do you know what that is?
Well, it was unclaimed. It was already awarded to the city and it wasn't collected with the Attorney General.
Okay.
So I would think, Mayor, and you're correct, we are nearing the end of that land close where we're doing a land swap sale. And I think that the clerk is correct that if there's unclaimed property, it would be from before all that. So
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Nina, can I ask you a question? On the 1095C, is that just through 2019 or
Yes, the 2019 will be current.
will be current?
Yes. Well, yes.
So this 2018s and 17s are filed?
No, I'm doing the 2019s first.
Okay, so
Okay.
we haven't filed the 2018s or 17s.
So that'll be next after to get that all where it
Okay.
needs to be.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you, Nina. Reports from standing committees. Does the Budget Committee have any report?
We're in the process of compiling more information. We're waiting on some stuff from Nina, so as soon as we get that and we have everything, then we'll plan a meeting.
The Ordinance Committee, does the Ordinance Committee have any?
We did have a meeting scheduled. We ended up having to cancel it. We'll reschedule in February to review the personnel ordinance and any new ordinances before the March meeting that might come up.
What about Ways and Means? Does Ways and Means?
Yes, I'd like to put a meeting together on Monday, February 10th at 5 p.m. And Colin, if that works with you and Brian?
Works for me.
Yeah, you and, but I mean, we're on the ordinance committee, so if we're
on
gonna
the
reschedule,
ordinance.
that same day
We
would
can
work.
schedule them.
Okay.
But this is for the Ways and Means, Monday, February 10th at 5 o'clock.
Can we schedule? Can this serve as notice, Nina, at a public meeting?
We'll still post it on the door.
Okay. Can we just schedule ordinance at 5:30 then? Do we think we'll need a half hour for Ways and Means?
At least
Okay, so maybe
5:30, 5:45.
okay, we can schedule for 5:45 for ordinance committee.
I
Great.
wouldn't be able to do that. I work Monday nights.
Oh, you work Monday?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we can find another day for ordinance
Okay, that's fine. I
before
was
the
just
March
trying to
meeting.
package it together if
Yeah.
that worked out for everyone.
So no
Does
for that
the
one.
Strategic Committee, the Strategic Plan Committee, do you have anything scheduled?
Strategic Plan Committee did not meet in the month of January, but I just spoke with Mr. Monroe prior to the meeting, and we're going to be communicating on how to work with the strategic plan and get the ball rolling.
I think, if I may add, I've also asked the Strategic Planning Committee to work with Mike Gonzalez on the importance of the census and putting together a plan to make sure we optimize those responses to this year's census.
Before we move on, Mayor,
Yes?
at that meeting for the Ways and Means would be at the City Hall upstairs conference room. Would you, is that okay with you, Debbie?
That's fine.
Okay, would you advertise that for us?
Sure.
please. Clerk Treasurer.
Okay, reports of city officials, Captain Candiano. Oh, Chief, I'm sorry. I'm so used to calling you
Just like that,
Captain.
you were demoted.
Just got demoted, Mike, I'm
Man, that
sorry.
didn't take long. Jeez, oh, please, what'd you do?
I am so sorry.
Dang it already. I thought you was doing a damn good job.
No, you're fine. That's not bother me one bit. All right, well, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so first off, maybe our daily, where are people at reports? We've got two that are in the academy. I think we talked about last time. They were just either just getting ready to start, I think, at our last meeting. So they're in the academy. They're doing well. We've got 3 that are in field training right now that are also doing well. That should be released for their solo patrol here in a little bit. As always is the case, though, it's a couple steps forward, a couple steps back. We have 2 that are on major illness now that have suffered some injuries. So hopefully they'll be back eventually. But we keep plodding along. So we'll get there. We'll be full staff sometime, hopefully in the next 4 years. So. Calls for service in January this year, we were at 2,900 calls, so that's about 93.5 calls a day. So it's winter, but it's been kind of a mild winter so far, so I think that's keeping our call volume up. People are still out and about. So a couple good things. We once we took over, we had some meetings with the Portage Township schools, and we are back working in the schools, filling some of those part-time roles. We've got 5 officers that have been assigned there, and I believe today was actually one of the first shifts. So
Nice.
excited to be back in there. While we were out, we had still maintained a partnership with them. We were still on their security committee, and we're doing things with them. The fire department's involved in that with us. I know they did some school assessments and things today, so we've got a pretty good partnership going between the city and the schools again. So just wanted to share that with you. Don't know if you're going to touch on this, but we played in a basketball game last Thursday.
I wasn't going to touch on it. We lost. So
I know some of you made it to that. The Portage Youth Council hosted a basketball game between us. I thought it was a good time. Wasn't the prettiest of basketball, but it was fun. Hard fought game. We did edge them out by a little bit. We're not bragging, but we did win. So I have.
And what was the final score?
I don't remember. I think we won by 4. It was very close at the end. So congrats to them for, like I said, it was a good time though. We really enjoyed it. So some more good news. We got a $1,600 grant from Enbridge Energy Company, and what we're going to do with that is we're going to purchase 12 medical kits for our patrol officers. So basically be like go bags in the cars, tourniquets, things like that. So if we arrive on scene, that we can start immediately treating, as before the fire department gets there. So we had a limited amount of these, and guys had been purchasing their own things, but now we can get an actual 12 of these full kits. So that's great. So we appreciated the donation from them, and it's gonna be well served. So let's see what else here. I wanted to take just a quick minute here and read a report from to you guys. Just at the end, I want to thank some of our officers for a job well done, but I just felt this was important for you guys to understand some of the stuff that we deal with on a daily basis. So on the 26th of January at about 10:19, our officers responded to an address here in Portage for a disturbance. While en route, they were advised by officers on scene that there was a male subject with a gun pointed at his head as he was threatening to shoot himself. So the officer that wrote this, when he arrived, he views the man in the backyard with a pistol in his right hand, pointing it at his right temple. He tells the officers multiple times to put the gun down. Responds that he was going to shoot himself or point the gun at officers so they would shoot him. So basically he's talking about a suicide by cop kind of thing. He then walks into the backyard, still pointing the gun at his head. So our officers there at the time followed him. They're trying to maintain, safety for us and for everybody else involved. So in the process, the officer that wrote this report it's Corporal Matt Johnson. He starts talking to him through the process. He gets him to put the gun in his pocket. They kind of establish a rapport. They keep talking. At one point, He ends up coming forward, talking to the man, asking if they could shake hands. At that point, he extends his hand, he grabs him, everything ends safely. So the reason I bring this up again is because I want to, first of all, recognize these officers, and I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but Officer McGraw, Officer Bollinger, Overton, Loban, Crook, Peel, Stanko, and Dowds, Sergeants Wazalewski and Maynard, and Lieutenant Messina. Could have been a very bad situation. I heard about this afterward. I read the report, and I was just very proud of the way they handled it. You see a lot of negative stuff out there in the press at different times in the country, and this could have ended very badly. And just so impressed with the way they handled it. So I wanted to get that out there, but again, I also wanted you guys to just understand some of the stuff that we're dealing with on a daily basis, and
Tell you what.
they're doing a good job. So. So that's all I got. Questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Great
All right,
job.
thank you.
Chief Sosby?
All right, you guys should have got the monthly report from the fire department. We did have 102 calls for service. It comes out about 13 calls a day, pretty average for us. Nothing really remarkable. January is typically not a real busy month unless we start getting some severe weather, so it's pretty typical. I did want to state a couple things. Yes, we did play a basketball game. We did lose, yes, by 4 points. I was thinking we were going to lose by double digits there pretty easily, but we actually pulled a little closer. I did want to thank our firefighters and the police officers. That was a completely voluntary thing. They played 12-minute quarters, which for anybody that knows basketball, that's a long quarter. And they're not really conditioned to run up and down a basketball floor. We can do other things, but not necessarily run up and down a basketball floor. So they would help the youth group raise some money and everything. So it was a good time. So.
With all the fouls, it's gotta be about an hour, quarter.
It was a long game. I felt sore just after.
You had an injury though, Chief. How's your?
He is still out. He has a little bit of a knee injury. He's going to have some further testing, so hopefully he'll be all right. So, did also want to state that this week is the IFF's National Burn Awareness Week. Did want to touch on just a couple statistics. Most burns do occur in the household. About 33% of all burns are scalding type burns in the household that require admission into a burn unit. And out of those 33%, a little over 60% of those are children 5 years and younger. So pretty alarming statistic there. So we just want to kind of remind everybody, be safe in the home when cooking, hot coffee, water, all those things. Be real careful around youngsters and make sure your home is childproof. We also did receive a grant, a $1,000 grant from Indiana American Water Company. Not real sure what we're going to use that for. We've received a couple smaller grants as well. We're trying to accumulate some of that money to tackle a larger project here in the near future. So we're kind of hold on to that for a little bit. We did have 2 firefighters retire. You may know some of them. Jeff Dowling retired after 21 years, I believe. And Chad Bogue, Jeff Dowling was a lieutenant with us. Chad Bogue was our division chief, so he was our on-duty incident commander. He retired after about 21 and a half years as well. So we thank them for their service over the past few years. And in our award ceremony in June, we will recognize them once again. So, we are in the process of replacing them as well, so that'll take a little bit of time. We did want to express our sincere gratitude to a couple of staff members of the YMCA. We hope to recognize them at our next city council meeting. We did have a retired firefighter go into cardiac arrest at the YMCA. They did perform CPR and applied an AED and shocked the firefighter and revived him. And I went and seen him in the emergency department that night. He was doing well. We were cracking jokes, and so hopefully he'll be fine. So we do plan on recognizing them at the next city council meeting with our community life safety award. So thank you to them for doing that. For those of you who may not know, that is our second firefighter that has been saved by an AED. So they are very important tools out there in the public, just as important, if not more important in some ways than fire extinguishers. So if you own a business, if you track people somewhere, we really encourage you to use those or to purchase those and use them if needed. The YMCA that we know of has had at least 3 saves where people have left the hospital and gone on to live a normal life after that. And I believe it's 4, but I know for sure that we have 3 saves out of that facility. So fantastic job by them.
Chief, on that point, do we have AEDs in all of our city buildings?
I don't know about all of them, but there's AEDs in I'm not sure if there's one at the street department or not, but I know is there one at the street department? Okay. I know they're in the park department buildings, they're in City Hall. Police department, I believe, has them with, they got them in their squad cars also. So I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
What about the training end of that? When we get new employees, do we train them on how to use that equipment?
We have on occasion, the fire department would be more than happy to do that again. We've done that before. So yeah, we can certainly.
Probably something to revisit.
Something like that, yeah. I know the utility people, street department, they come down routinely every couple of years and we train them. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. One more thing, we do have the blue bags there. Right there, Kevin, if you want to grab that for me. You guys may have heard about this in the paper. It's a program called Ben's Blue Bags. Basically what's in there, recently we completed some autism awareness training. Basically for our firefighters. We've done it before, but this has been a little bit more in depth, specific to this kit here, where we have basically learned how to, new ways of dealing with autistic adults and children, and adults and children with sensory disabilities. So in these kits were started in Ohio. They were brought to this region by Matt Kodacek, who is a Crown Point firefighter paramedic, and he is the brother of our assistant fire chief, Dan Kodacek. So the reason they're called Ben's Blue Bags here is Matt's son is on the autism spectrum, and his name is Ben. So he's kind of spearheading this into this area. We have put these on all of our rigs. And basically they're just tools for us to be able to interact with an autistic or sensory disabled person. And all of these devices have been tested and they work very well with basically calming the autistic patient down quite a bit so we can get to the bottom of what their problem is, or maybe even just take them out of the actual crisis, the sensory overload situation that they're in. So we just kind of want to make you guys aware of it. We got this through, did we get a little bit of grant for this? I can't remember how we purchased these exactly. I know they were offered at a discounted rate just because of the program being brought into this area. So again, we hope we never have to use them, but they're out there if we need them. So there is a chart there that we can also have the patient point to. A lot of times they're not capable of verbalizing, so a lot of times they could point to wherever they're hurting or whatever the problem is. So I don't know if you have any questions about any of the objects there, but they do work. So so thank you. Any questions? Yes.
I do. On the report that you sent, can
Yes.
you clarify a couple things for me?
Sure.
The emergency medical service incident other, what is that typically?
That's probably just a call that, listen, we're like the police department, we call for all kinds of weird things.
So is that where you don't know where to put it?
Yeah, so generally if it doesn't fall into a category that is tracked,
It just doesn't fit?
then we just group it into other.
then one other, assist in battle.
Invalid.
I had the same question a year ago.
Tell me to explain that to her.
Now I don't feel bad about asking that a year ago.
Continue the cycle.
A few months ago, Calvin, when you look at it, that is what it is.
Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. I'm not kidding. I just solved the puzzle.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Randy, are you here? Come on up, Randy.
Emailed most of the report that I was going to give tonight. In January, it was kind of mild, so we had a high day of 58. And then we only had 2 days in January that were actually in the single digits, and it got down to 1 degree on January 23rd. But we did have 4 winter events, and we did respond to all those in the department. We did about 1,389 working hours during those events, so that's how much work we do put into storms. And the men and women down there do a great job. We are expecting another winter event coming tomorrow. I've seen as high as forecast of 3 to 5 inches, so we're prepared for that. This January we did 940 MS4 or MSW tons. Those are municipality solid waste tons that we picked up. Recycling was 780 tons, and which would brought our diversion rate to about 22.3%. So I did finish up the 2019. I was looking for some numbers from the county, and I did submit that report to you, and that's what it looks like there. So I don't know if online could see that, but we did a great job in 2019, and the overall diversion rate would calculate it in with the leaves, the limbs, all the recycling, the e-waste, the tires, metal. We almost reached 40% for our city, which is, it's a great number, 40%. The county would like
Can you
to see us.
explain a little bit further, Randy, what is meant by the diversion rate?
Well,
for
diversion
everybody?
rate is anything that we do not take to the waste or the landfill.
The landfill.
The landfill. So the only thing that, the amount of tons that we picked up and took to the landfill was a total of 13,235 tons. That's what we landfilled in 2019. What we avoided going to the landfill was a total of 8,548 tons. So the county would love to see us get to about 50%. We got a lot to go there. In the next couple of years, we have our contract actually up for renewal, so that's going to take some great negotiating on our part with whoever picks up that contract. So, any questions on the report?
I just want to say that landfill costs are over $55 a ton now, and I think people don't realize it when you look at your sewer bill and you see that trash fee on there, but in no way is it ever covering that landfilling cost. We spent, in just the month of January, $58,000 to the landfill.
Yes.
And we are expected to spend about 700,000 that we're going to spend on just landfill fees. So the numbers of recycling need to get higher to save us the money, because we can't keep up with the rising costs. And I think if you hear Randy reporting that every month, you'll realize that it's way over what we budget for, because the cost of landfilling is going to continue to go up as landfills fill up, new ones aren't sited, and they become farther away for our people to have to haul. We go to Republic, but they take it a lot farther. So just be aware of the cost. We're just not meeting those costs right now. Thanks,
So the
Randy.
black lid toner, this would be a lot simpler for our residents to understand. The black lid and the green lid toner that we put out every week. The black lid toner amounted to $12,650. 636 tons for 2019. And our green bid total was 3,270 tons, which is about 20.5%, 20.6%. So, give everyone a good idea.
Is that just the raw number coming out of the green toter? Is that how much was usable? I mean, a lot of the green toter stuff isn't always usable or is dirty recycling, you know, I mean.
Yes, Republic Service is really cracking down.
Yeah.
With dirty recycling. Sometimes people think pizza boxes are recycling, but they're not, due to the contaminant oils and the fats and stuff like that. So we really encourage residents to rinse out any tin cans, milk jugs, anything like that. Give it like a free rinse, and it'll be good for the recycling. So.
I have something for you, Randy. On Monday, February 10th, we have a Ways and Means meeting scheduled for 5 o'clock. Would you be able to attend, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor, you're welcome to as well. Dan, if you'd attend, you're more than welcome to.
Actually, as Superintendent Reader, I just wanted to commend the street department for addressing an issue on Lancer between Robbins and Lute. There seems to be an ongoing issue. I was contacted by a concerned resident of a private plowing contractor who during winter events continues to plow the snow from the parking lot onto the public sidewalk. It was taken care of this time around. I was just wondering what the process would be to make sure that's ongoing. So the next time around, we don't have to keep addressing the same issue.
We do have some private plow companies through the city, and they'll plow the parking lot into the street, and they'll leave a plow there. We've addressed some of those issues with those private companies, and I encourage businesses to really police their contracts with their plow removing services and address that with them. Please do not plow snow into the roadways. It's very dangerous, the pacifiers, and also it makes our job a little bit tougher. So.
And if I can, I think the same resident reached out to me about the same issue. Code enforcement actually did look into it. They're identifying the plowing contractor to address it directly with them, but they assured that they'll keep an eye out for it to make sure it doesn't happen going forward as well, because it was directly on the sidewalk. They put it on the sidewalk, and the entire sidewalk was unusable. So.
One other thing I'd like to remind residents that we're not over with for winter yet, and anything that's 2 inches or more, please remove your vehicles from the roadway so we could easily plow. So, all right.
Thank you, Randy, good job. Barb, I know you heard from the marina. It's kind of a quiet time for you. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things I can talk about. It is quiet time at the marina. We're kind of like in winter mode. But we have been slow, but we do have a few people that are daily launching. It's our collection time. We're collecting money up until March 31st. That's when the slip payments are due in full. One other thing I can talk about is we're working with Avonmarsh in item. This is something that the mayor had sent to me about a week ago. We're trying to pursue 100% grant opportunities. It's kind of a long title, but it's called Fiscal Year 2020 Trash-Free Great Lakes Grant Program, which is trash removal from the Great Lakes river mouths and harbors. In other words, cleaning up Burns Waterway or the ditch. It's a large grant. There's $10 million that are available, and that's going to be divided, but the grant is due by February 14th. It's kind of a short notice. This is the EPA and all the other governmental agencies that are involved in it. They're just not giving us a lot of time. But we're working with Avonmarsh, and I'm working with the Port Authority to see if we can get the ball rolling on this. I've had people come to the marina in previous years wanting to know what they could do as far as cleaning up the waterway. There's a lot of garbage and just, anybody that does any boating or fishing along the waterway can see how nasty it is. So hopefully we're going to see something on this. I hope that we can get the ball rolling in time. We're going to participate again this year in the Chamber of Commerce's 4th annual Fish On event. That's at Woodland Park, February 22nd and 23rd, from 9 until 4. The Port Authority has been a silver sponsor for 4 years. We pass out free stuff, safety brochures, tourism brochures, marina information, and clean water information. So if anybody gets a chance, I know the Chamber really works hard at this event. It's a nice event, and I would hope that everybody would try to attend. March 19th, we are going to host a Clean Marina Roundtable, and that's going to take place at the Portage lakefront. The time will be announced. I think it's going to be like from 10 until 1 or 10 until 2. The event is sponsored by IDEM, the DNR, and anyone is welcome to attend. The usual attendees are marina harbor masters, managers, maintenance personnel, general marina employees. And it's a seminar that's set up to help marinas and boatyards establish best management practices. And it covers topics such as disposal of hazardous materials, storage of hazardous materials, fish waste, boat cleaning and operation, aquatic and invasive species, which are the quagga and the zebra mussels, Asian carp, toxic plants, and fueling. It's not anything that they push. They're not trying to get you to do things that are unusual. They're just out there to give you information. And it's good. I mean, this is our 2nd year that we're hosting it at the lakefront. It's a pretty good event. That's all I have.
Could you repeat the date on that for me, please?
Yeah, for the Clean Marina Roundtable,
Yes.
it's March 19th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you aware of the IDEM's Governor's Award for Environmental Excellence program? Okay, that is, you know, you can nominate, so maybe the marina could get nominated for, they have 7 categories that they accept nominations for, like recycling, pollution prevention, land use, improvement plans with the marina. So those nominations are due like April 6th. So I'll forward that to you. You know, we'll always put in for an award if we can. And I know you do a lot of hard work there, so. Okay,
Thanks
I'll
for
forward that on to you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Thanks, Barb.
So last but certainly not least, we have a new person in our administration that I'm excited to have back here in the city, A.J. Monroe. He is our Community Development Director. He knows our city well, and we are so happy to have him on board. He's been with us for a couple of weeks now, so he's going to give us a report, even though he's been here for a couple of weeks. He's really been doing some serious stuff, so welcome back, A.J. We are so glad to have you.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back. So I really appreciate that. The last 10 days have been really busy trying to find my footing and understand what's going on and how best to move the community forward. But there's been some projects that I've had to require some immediate attention, and I wanted to share with you those projects, where we stand with them, and so I'll just get right into it. I would start by saying, very similar to the other department heads you've heard from this evening, that it would be my intention to submit a written report to you in advance of your meetings, because as you see, I'm going to try to be short tonight, but as we get back into this, these reports are going to be rather long, and I know you have a lot of business to take care of at your meetings. So I would like to start with an update and report on Central Avenue East. Earlier, late last week, we met with the construction company, the general contractor, as well as our construction engineer to get an update. We are toward the end of that project. I know many of you will be relieved. Many in the community, I'm sure, are. So Willow Creek Road is under construction with paving from Central Avenue South. We have another project coming in next year. This is a federal aided project that we received a number of years ago. It is a community, and we're ready to go. Notice to proceed on the project was issued late last year. Again, we met with the general contractor and the construction engineer on that project. As you know, early work has already taken place out there with some of the relocation of the utility on the west side of Willow Creek Road near Willow Creek Middle School. but construction work will begin in earnest in late spring of 2020. I'm things that are going on in that project that are going to be, it's going to be very important for us to be out there communicating with the residents, because I know there's been a lot of fears over the last several years about the impacts that the closing of Evergreen will have, whether during construction or after. So it's going to be very important as I better understand what the work schedule it really is going to be. We will be very clear in sharing that with you, the community, and that to be around April. So we will let you know about that. The roads that were included in the application, and again, the roads that are included in the application are discussed and identified in our PACER program, which is the program that identifies our conditions of our roadways in our community. I know you know there are many of them. These are 3 of them. When you hear them, you'll understand these are some significant investments. The first is Dombey Road. As you know, Dombey last year saw a major reconstruction project between the railroad and the Indiana Toll Road. This project will likely include some drainage work. There's a low area that needs to be addressed. Fortunately, we have an outfall location at Countryside Park to run that too. The last is Swanson Road. Swanson Road from US Highway 6 down to 700 North, the entire segment, so it's about a mile. Most of it's a 2-lane section, but there's a 3-lane section. Now, about 80% of the project's a 3-lane section with the multiple subdivisions on the east side of Swanson Road. So those are the 3 projects that were included in that grant. They do total the maximum request that we can seek in the program, which is $1 million. And as I indicated earlier, it would be our expectation to hear word from the state of Indiana early spring. I believe it's going to be April.
AJ, quick question. You know, we've run into this problem in the past where the project came in under budget, and then we ended up owing money back. So did we this year, when we submitted the application, submit for more work above the $1 million?
Yeah, we've, in this grant application, understanding that that's happened to our community in the past, pressed it a little bit to push beyond that amount. In calculating what is expected in the wheel tax as we make our way through the year, understanding that we may have some opportunities to leverage some support by the Stormwater Board, specifically that project on Boulder, that we really pushed that amount so that it would get back to $1 million. We did submit early. It's been our experience in the past that getting that application in early gives the NDOT reviewer time to maybe offer some advice. And we're going to take these few days if they have some suggestions of ways to help strengthen our application. We're going to take that advice and resubmit. Again, that application is due this spring.
AJ,
Yes, so between a road reconstruction and a road project that may include other things that would include sidewalks and more of a robust investment in curbs and things like that. I believe that in the years to come, you'll be hearing me talk about projects that are more in that line, but these 3 very specifically are road reconstruction projects. Thank you. So the position wears many hats. Appeals, as you all know, a well-run meeting is an effective meeting. We spent some time with what we understand is out there today. So we're looking forward to that. Last month at your council meeting, as you adopted the salary ordinance, included in that was the position of city planner. One of the things that we've struggled with in the last several years is having somebody in our community looking forward. We've been caught in the planning of the day as opposed to looking forward. We have posted with the advice of council, we've wrapped up that job posting. It's posted internally as well as externally. We're hoping and soliciting responses that are due at the end of the month. So if you are aware of anybody who may be interested in serving in the capacity of city planner in Portage, please direct them to that posting. I've already received one resume, so it was posted yesterday, so that's good stuff.
Where is it posted at?
It's posted at City Hall, it's on the website, we've posted it at Indiana APA, the American Planning Association's national site. Sonia today was looking at posting it today. I'm working to post it on the LTAP or the Purdue website, and we'll also be posting it on the AIM website, formerly the Indiana Association of Cities and Towns. If there's any advice on other locations you are aware that we can get the word out, please let me know. The more places it's posted, the better. We're really looking to get some great responses back, and so any help you can provide is greatly appreciated. We are continuing to work as a department with reviewing and preparing a budget for the redevelopment commission. We're working through that. We're also working through the contracts that are handled by the redevelopment commission. It's our intention to have a proposed budget to the RDC and any contracts or services that we may need for their consideration at their meeting on February 27th. And then to the Plan Commission yesterday. It was weird for the members of the Plan Commission, all of them, because they haven't had a meeting at City Hall. They've been sort of nomads. So the idea of coming to City Hall, being in the department, that was exciting for them. And I would really welcome you to City Hall, welcome you to the department, and I'd love to hear what you have to say and share our thoughts in terms of how to move our community forward. Earlier today, I was at NERC, which is the Northwestern Indiana Regional Plan Commission. It's a place that we haven't been participating. It's a place we need to be. And the mayor has been there. I've been there. It's important for our community to be represented. People look to us as a leader in Northwest Indiana, and being back, I think, is very important. So it's great to be there. One of the things that I believe should have been reported last year is that we did receive the support of the Northwest NERC to submit the Willow Creek Road bypass from the Indiana Toll Road to US 20 as a critical urban freight corridor. What that means at the end of the day is that while Willow Creek Road, that segment of Willow Creek Road doesn't have a designation of an interstate, a U.S. route, or a state highway, it is critical infrastructure of the United States as it relates to the transport of freight. That is good news. Historically, Portage had a great relationship with the Indiana Toll Road Commission. We could work collaboratively in the Toll Road Commission would assist in providing resources to the city for the paving of the bypass. In more recent years, that hasn't been our experience. This opportunity, I think, is very important for us to explore, and I think the leadership that got us to where we are today, for me to report this, is important. So I would commend those folks who helped us get there. With that said, as you know, the city of Portage reprogrammed some federal dollars that were previously earmarked for the Samuelson Road, the one-lane bridge. And that project, it was the final determination that project was not going to happen because of the amount of investment that was required by CSX Railroad. So that money's been reprogrammed, and a portion of that money was reprogrammed to this segment of the Willow Creek Road bypass. That's great news. So we are moving forward with getting it, hopefully getting it identified as a critical urban freight corridor, which will be great for the next time we have to pave Willow Creek. But at this time, we have the ability to move forward. So our plan in this go around is to begin the engineering work for that project this year, and the intention to deliver the project as a construction project next year. The city is working collaboratively with Porter County because included in that project are improvements to the approach slabs of the two bridges at the railroad crossings where it crosses both the CX and the Norfolk. Again, a couple other things. We're moving forward on the Marquette Greenway Trail, the next segment that's in Ameriplex. That project will go through its last engineering reviews this year and should be ready for construction next year.
And then, I think, was the grant application?
Yes, sir. So the last thing that I have, thank you for that, is the city, via its Parks Department, made the application to the state of Indiana for the Next Level Trails Grant Program. That application was submitted in November of last year. It's my understanding that those announcements are to be soon. The website identified late January, early February. I am unaware of it as of today, but I didn't check Access Indiana in the last, so maybe it's there, maybe not. But that is something that's been applied, and I'm unaware if announcements are made. Again, my every intention is in the future to submit this as a written report, and then when we're here in a meeting to then just be able to answer any questions you may have of what's in the report or anything that happens between distribution and this meeting. With that, I'll stop.
I just want to say, AJ, you've done an amazing job picking the ball up and running with it and getting us in the loop on some very, very important factors that are moving our city forward. And I know the entire council feels the same way, and it's been tough, but you have jumped in with both feet, both arms, and done whatever you needed to do. And personally, I'm excited to have you back on board.
Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. We have unfinished business, the 2020 membership dues.
I talked with Scott about this. We decided we are going to leave it as a working document temporarily till the annual finance report is done, so I can pull all of those and add them, because there are many that weren't, it's not accurate.
Okay. We have no new business, so we will entertain comments by members of the public. So if you wish to speak, please step up to the microphone, state your name and your address.
Reverend Michael, Portage. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to speak to the council about the proposed development of the property in the Days Inn at Highway 20 in Chrismon Road. I have concerns that a truck repair shop is in negotiations with the city for this parcel between two hotels in one of the hospitality clusters in our city. With a high concentration of restaurants and hotels, many of whom I've spoken with over the past 2 weeks, the placement of a truck repair shop in the midst of this focused development that has recently seen significant investments by major hotel chains and national food franchises goes against, I believe, how the area is organically being developed. A better use for this property would be one in which the focus is on tourism and hospitality that is maintained at this key highway interchange and gateway into our national park. I see an opportunity for this property to enhance those key sectors and address transportation infrastructures in our city at the same time. First, given our city's need to relocate the current undersized airport shuttle lot downtown, which is 7 minutes from the highway, that would both free up prime downtown real estate as well as shaving 15 minutes off the shuttle bus schedule as an incentive for service expansions to the airports. Equally, moving the existing Greyhound bus stop currently next door to this property at the Travel Inn into kind of a more dedicated regional transportation hub, I believe would facilitate tourism into the gateway area for the city and for the national park. Additionally, bringing in other things into that property, such as revenue generating electric car charging stations, picnic tables, and using part of that property as a green space buffer with the residential areas to the south would be a better use of that property. I believe we can do this type of development in partnership with many organizations, including the Indiana Dunes Tourism Board, Board of Indiana, and Sierra England, which is the driving force for the Greyhound bus stop here on 20 there in Portage, even though it is listed on the Greyhound website as Burns Harbor. There are plenty of more suitable parcels along 20 for another truck repair shop, but in the middle of our Gateway Hospitality District is not one that I believe is suitable. And I ask the mayor and this council to take a pause in the current negotiations for time to consider what is best for our city, our residents, and the future hotel and restaurant development around that important gateway into our city.
Would you please submit those comments to Mr. Monroe so that he can review them? Thank you.
Mayor, I'm just a nobody. I'm a scrapper. I came to your office and I found out you need a permit to scrap. And they told me I have to come to this meeting to find out if I get any questions about this paperwork. So that's why I'm here. I don't go in people's garbage cans. I pick up refrigerators, washers, dryers, water heaters, the big stuff just laying around. I take it to the scrap yard. I never take it out of my truck. I don't have a facility. I only have a pickup truck. Am I allowed to get a permit?
And someone told you to come before the council?
Yes. I said I had questions about this paperwork, and they said you have to go to the council meeting. And that's why I'm here. It was a receptionist at City Hall.
Because I'm thinking, help me out here, Randy. Is there,
It talks about chauffeur's licenses and having your trucks inspected and CDLs and all kinds of stuff. I'm just a single guy. I'm 65 years old, retired. I'm on disability. I'm not even making enough money to pay for my gas.
well, I'm a little confused that you would be sent here. Perhaps the receptionist didn't quite understand that, but I believe you need to.
I was stopped by a police officer the 2nd of January and told I was needed a permit to pick up scrap metal along the city roads. I have not touched ordinance since they gave me that thing to tell me.
You would need to approach the Board of Works for permit, so that's where you guys do. And that's the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. At 11 a.m., second floor of the police.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, you would need to get on the agenda, so you need to contact the clerk's office to get on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. And that is next Tuesday, that Board of Works meeting. So I would suggest you call them tomorrow or the next day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cameron Wild, 2840 Parkway. I just want to touch on 2 points. I want to touch on the city spokesperson. So I want to know if they're contracted or they're a city employee, and if the job was posted on a public forum for at least 30 days. And then I also want to touch base on the third-party streaming service that we did not have before you came into office.
As far as the, our PIO, that is a 3-month contract and it was approved by the Board of Works.
Okay. Then the city spokesperson as well.
Are you talking about the public information officer?
Is that PIO? Okay. And then also for the streaming service that you guys use to conduct the board meetings, city council meetings, and streaming live.
That person is a part-time person. They're just hired for specifically live streaming, and that's all.
And what budget does that fit into?
I'm not sure, Scott, what things are coming out? Let's see. It comes out of the city hall budget.
City Hall budget? Right. Thank you.
Yes, the board works approved that contract.
Just to clarify, the person is a contractor, not a part-time employee.
They're not in.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak to the council? If not, are there any matters to come before the council?
Madam Mayor, I did have one. I had a request from a resident about streetlights on Lancer. I haven't had a chance to look. I can't remember when we reconstructed Lancer if we put them in. I don't think that we did. So there aren't any streetlights there. Can we take a look at that? And then I can bring a request to the council at the March meeting for streetlights.
Yeah, and street lights would have to come before the traffic commission, I
Right.
believe.
I'll mention it to them Thursday. We have a meeting Thursday.
So
Yes.
I guess, would it be easier if the council can make a recommendation if there aren't any streetlights to put them there? I just didn't have a chance to swing by before I came
Well, I
here.
think we need to look at the plan, right? AJ, was there a street light plan?
Yes, I'll investigate that.
Okay.
Unless the rules change here, I believe a councilman is allowed a street light a year.
Two.
Two, okay,
Right,
two, it's
two.
gonna change to two. But we'll investigate,
Okay.
sometimes if a request may have already been made, they may have not been installed because NIPSCO has a pretty significant backlog as it relates to streetlights. But we'll investigate that, and I'll try to get an answer to you before the next meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was part of the reconstruction plan and they just didn't get to it, so I didn't want to make a request if that was the case. So.
I will
Because
check and
I'm
get
not sure if the council members that get two lights want to use that in that area, if that was a planned area and they should have been in that area.
Understood. So we'll get an answer as it relates to that. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, do you have any other?
I don't think we have any other business. No.
I just wanted to commend the field forces for a job they did on, remind me, Councilperson Geishurst, it's Lark and Evelyn, excuse me. Residents had a issue with standing water in their front yard and the street. We sat down with the residents, and the very next day the issue was addressed, and the residents are very happy, and so are we. So thank you for that.
If there is no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.